Hi guys, welcome back into my channel. I hope that you're doing super well. I'm Meg, a mindfulness coach and healer, and I share wisdom and hope through guided meditation and wisdom sessions. In today's video, I'm sharing some of my energy channeled messages for October, and it feels really fitting as we're coming through in the coming weeks the new moon in Virgo and solar eclipse, which is the second eclipse that we've had in September. And there's been so much planetary activity. I imagine you've all been feeling it. I certainly have myself. I know right off the bat, one of the first themes that's come up for me as I tuned into the energy of the month is the idea of rest and refocusing, which is very appropriate given Virgo, the earth sign. It's very grounded and balanced. It's trying to get back into that balance within your own body. And I'm also hearing even like balancing hydration and fuel. If you're like a real active person and you're working out a lot, I think there's a time here to sort of make sure that you're giving yourself enough. I'm sensing that some people may be in like a little bit of deprivation mode, and we often sometimes like need more than we realize. And I think that sort of spectrum applies to also like sleep and dream time, which hopefully happens during the same 8 hour, maybe even more each night, but also daydreaming and white space. I see a big, vast whiteboard, like a dry erase. It sort of feels like there's been an eraser that has just really unveiled this brand new platform. It's almost like just a blank canvas, and needing to get back to homeostasis and this feeling of just being. And when we look at the layers and the complexities of our lives, and piled on top is obviously like our own expectations and responsibilities, and then hopefully the things that light us up that should be really hugely factored in. But I think there's been a little bit of deprivation and lack that a lot of people have been feeling. I know even in my own life, I could attest to there being the dial and the faucet has sort of been turned up quite a few notches. And with that comes an increase in just stimulation and experiences, invitations, work, travel, fill in the blank, just more activity and more momentum. It's a really, really great thing. I'm sensing very positive movement. But when you feel like you can't say no, or that you're trying to continue on the conveyor belt, we have to find the spaces within our own day and really create and carve out what it is that we need to thrive, not only survive, but to thrive. So I encourage you to review your daily rituals and how you're spending your days. I'm currently examining these things myself. Little nighttime rituals or stretches, the way that you wind down each evening, or the way that you wake up in the morning, and sort of what you offer yourself. I think it's really nice, and I welcome you to think of it as an offering to yourself, not just I have to wake up tomorrow morning and then here's my to-do list that feels like it's just pages long. And instead, what can you possibly start off that will make you feel like empowered and enriched? And in what way do you want to draw up the plans of your life, literally on a daily basis? So I think that's the first theme that's really coming in strong. I think it's perfect timing with Virgo. It's balance. And it's also, the energy of being really in a flow of work ethic, that hard sort of earner energy of how we do our life and how we show up in the various roles that we play and also in our careers. So if there's an influx of work and movement, maybe just finding a way that you can manage the expectations potentially of those around you. And it might require a conversation of how to sort of outfit yourself better to succeed and not just to get by. We never want to feel like we're just existing. There's that level of being and really in tune, but then also the word intentional comes to mind. So that's the first theme that has come up so far. The second theme that I feel very connected to is our courage and our confidence. Two things that we, I think, as human beings, really feel like are important to our existence, but sometimes they are faltered. We might fall down. We might encounter like these unexpected circumstances or experiences in our lives that sort of push us into a different space. And when we get pushed and maybe I would say into an uncomfortable space or a place that we just never imagined we'd be, it really kind of connects us to this deeper sense of the meaning of our lives and what we're doing here and what we'd like our purpose to be. And at times we're forced to employ this courage and confidence a little bit more strongly. And with that is very closely tied to our self-worth and I guess our feelings, general feelings around self and the talk that we have internally, our self-talk, the dialogue, and also what we share with others. And I always talk about how words are so powerful, and they're literally pieces of energy just in the universe that connects you to your manifestations and to your life and to what's coming in your future. I think you may be tested in September in a way, and we know that these are sometimes not the best feelings when we might have to come to terms with something that is, for example, needs to be cut loose or just ended, or something that we can't continue. And I don't know that it's necessarily always a burden or, like something tactical, but I see this more internally as a subtle shift within your own self. And I know I've been feeling this sense of, this release of the old version of yourself and the way that you've operated. And this could even be within the last 6 months to a year. I think as we evolve and grow, it's not easy to see it necessarily on the outside, like in the 3D. It's more in the 5D. It's more in our own inner being, so to speak. But then all of a sudden you wake up and there is a lot of change and you just are different and you feel different and things are different. I mean, the beauty of space and time, while infinite, is that it does always provide a sense of change, and that's the only constant that we have. So if you were tested this month, it will be for your best and highest good. It's almost like trimming the fat off of, literally a piece of meat or something that you just really don't need anymore. And we get so familiar and comfortable in the ways of doing things. But then what would be the beauty of life if we didn't stretch ourselves to expand beyond that? And this is scary at times because we have to show up as a new version of ourselves, and it may require you to be vulnerable or to accept a job that is a little bit different and not what you're used to, or to just do something completely out of the ordinary. And maybe you're really ready for like a courageous and confident step that has been waiting for years to happen, like a bold, big life change. And I do get that feeling as well. And I love this for all of us because I think we are working on ourselves every day, and we always are trying to find that light within ourselves that I always talk about, to continue to just be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And in order to do that, we have to have some hard conversations around ways that we're existing or spending time, or the way that we're living our lives, in order to like level up to the next phase. So it's exciting and it's a little scary, and I know that we all might feel like we're being pushed a little bit. Of course, there can be some things that kind of come out of left field that do cause change that are just completely out of our control. But the way that we react and respond is, and the way that our courage and confidence really carries us forward, is the most important part. And what I would also say on that note is there is this theme that has constantly been, I think, kind of growing, but the self-worth that you feel within, try as best as you can to make sure that that's the way that it's being portrayed on the outside. So for example, if you work with clients, or you are negotiating for a new role that you interviewed for, I think this is the moment where you don't just ask for what you think you could get. It's that you position yourself as like the powerful soul that you are, to boldly request what you're worth. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not being greedy or asking for too much, fill in the blank. It's just apples to apples. Like if your experience is warranting a certain amount of hours that you would like to request from a client, or whatever that may be, just feel into your power and your strength. And again, the courage and confidence to ask for what you deserve. Because if you don't vouch for yourself, and you don't ask at all, or you don't put yourself out there to have the conversation, no one else is going to do it for you. So courage and confidence is the second theme. Okay, the third theme and energy that I've been picking up for October is around listening. And this is something that I've really started practicing a lot in my day-to-day on set with clients. And listening is so wildly underestimated. I think this can be multiple forms. Of course, listening to those around you is huge, and sort of just listening in to be more mindful of what's happening, and what you're really receiving. So if you're in a meeting and you're less inclined to jump in with your opinion, when you are able to just sit back and listen, often like these really big nuggets of wisdom come through. And not that you shouldn't share your opinion, of course, but I just think take note to listening a little bit more to everything that's happening in the world and your environment and your communities with your families, what your children are saying to you. There's a lot that is said, and I think we as humans are selective listeners at times. So just be mindful. There might be some good information that you're able to glean about something in your life that you've been wanting to unlock for quite some time, I'm hearing, and maybe you've been researching something and really looking for solutions, and sometimes we spin and we sort of are overstimulated by our own actions to try to search and find meaning or like I said, potentially a solution to something that you're experiencing in your life. But I think when we come back to the present and just let it be and like let it unfold, it is unfolding as we speak, literally, and things are unfolding for us right here, before our eyes, whether we realize it or not. And then in tandem with that, be really mindful of what you're hearing in your heart from your higher self. Like it's this moment of real open listening, because there's voices that we all hear and intuition, ideas, so many things that come up, and whether we dull the shine of those words or we choose not to receive them or we choose to embellish them is a mystery. But what are those things that are coming up for you? And these are really big things. If you're feeling a certain way in your body, our body is a huge indicator of energy, and if we listen to even just our body, it's mind-blowing. You can tell if you have a flight or flight response with a person that you meet pretty instantly, and you can gain a sense of trust or distrust, or you can feel, a certain sense of positive, uplifting sentiments, or maybe not so much. And I think we owe it to ourselves to just listen and allow yourself to be this like sponge of, energy. We're all walking forms of energy in this massive electromagnetic field, and everything that we do and say and the way that we move through the world is touching upon all these other energies. And there's very subtle things that do these currents that come through. And I think, whether you call it synchronicity or signs from, the divine or our angels or your higher self or whatever you believe in, it's really important that we can stop and sort of digest that, because if we don't, then we miss out on major opportunities for just more meaning in our lives and more just alignment with who we are as a person. So this final theme is sort of a reminder to open up your heart and listen. And it's almost like maybe you don't need to be on offense. Maybe you just need to kind of be on defense right now. I don't really love that term, but, not like going after and trying to accomplish and produce and all this really like, wands, like fiery energy of like, I have to push forward. And instead, maybe just allow yourself to ground and be and see what comes to you and see how you feel around certain things or, experiences. And I think in tandem with the other themes that came up, rest and courage and confidence, kind of all these work together in unison to sort of harness the next phase of what we can do as we start to get closer towards the end of 2025. But the rest is probably the number one thing I would say for this month that's coming up. And I know it feels really daunting sometimes to like cancel a plan or maybe not say yes to an invite. But this is actually a really, really good time to sort of carve out meaningful space for yourself and to just be. And again, like with these open spaces that we offer to ourselves, it's a lot easier to listen and it's a lot, more appropriate for wisdom to come through when we're not cramming our life and packing it full with so many things and overscheduling. And I'm just such a fan of simplicity in general. I think we don't, we're humans and we're not meant to be robots and we're not meant to constantly be, chasing the next like paycheck and this really capitalistic sort of view that a lot of our society runs on. But I hope these themes really kind of help you to just be present in your own life and your own space as we enter into October. And this Virgo energy that we're in right now is so powerful, and it's going to continue as we move into the month. I always love that the weather starts to change, and we in tandem change as well. So allow yourself to change. Maybe it's even a new hairstyle. Whatever it is, it's an opportunity for you to show up and be more aligned with who you are today and in this body, in this place, in this time, in this lifetime. I'm wishing you the best and I hope you have an awesome month ahead. I will be back really soon for a meditation and I'm sending all my love and light. Take care.